Welcome to Sideshow Live. Yay!
Yeah!
I'm Amy, and Brad is actually also here with us today helping host the show.
I am actually also here and thrilled to be here, Amy. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much for being here. We have a super fun show today. First up, Geek headlines. Then Senior Paint Manager Kat Sapene is here in studio to help us look at some Harley pieces and answer your questions. But before we get started, be sure to enter the February newsletter giveaway for the Hot Toys Flash 6 scale. Head to side.show/win-flash to enter for your chance to win. You have until the end of the month, so don't delay. All right, so let's get started. Brad, Geek headlines, what you got?
Well, I'm going to get right in because it's the week after the Oscars and the Joker, right? This is what everybody's talking about. The Joker won Oscars, okay? And it's not a big surprise. The Joker's won an Oscar before, but not for lead actor. Joaquin Phoenix coming home with the Oscar for Best Actor, and also it won for Best Original Score.
Which is beautiful.
Which is a beautiful score, but it's just kind of exciting to see. And Joaquin's speech, fantastic. It was just cool for me to see this character and that movie get the recognition it deserves, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you like the movie? You like Joaquin's?
Yeah, I thought it was great. I also love the conversations that it started and the fact that we can all talk about a comic book property.
Yeah.
Isn't that cool? Like, we get to geek out even more.
Yeah,
Which is great.
I mean, it's just like, I don't know, there's been 2 actors who've won Oscars for Joker. It's now, or maybe just every other Joker.
Yeah.
So whoever gets the next one is like screwed, but then 2 Jokers from now, another Oscar.
All right.
That's how it's gonna go.
So it'll be you next then? Like, not this next one, but the one after.
I'm a Joker every day of my life, so don't worry about that. But so that's first on the Geek headlines. But then second up, Knives Out, the sequel. That's right, folks. Rian Johnson announced that he's going to be doing a sequel to Knives Out that focuses on Daniel Craig's detective character. I'm loving this. I love the movie. Daniel Craig is definitely, we got to figure out what this guy's going to do after being James Bond.
Yeah.
And so more Knives Out. The Knives Out universe is expanding. I think the most fun part about this news, though, above any other movie or anything, is figuring out what this one's going to be called. Amy, do you got a pitch for the title of this sequel?
Yeah. I don't think you guys are ready for this, but get ready. Spoons Out.
Spoons Out!
Yeah.
The spoons, they're out.
Yeah, no, okay. So
Why spoons?
I think as far as cutlery goes, they always get left behind. The obvious choice would be forks. Yeah. Obviously, forks out. But no, I think spoons, because why not? Knives Out was revolutionary, so I think that they would be the ones to make spoons cool again.
How would spoons be involved with the movie at all?
Rian Johnson.
That's up to
I'm
Rian
here.
Johnson, yeah.
Like, we can talk about it, and maybe we can work something out.
Yeah.
What if you use sporks?
Sporks?
Sporks, Forky had a great year. Toy Story 4, so maybe.
I know, sports are hot right now, that's for sure. Sports are very...
Forky could, partake in
That's
the action.
true. All the universes will combine. I actually do, I have a pitch for the title. It's gonna knock your socks off. Right. Knives In. Right? We've already seen them go out, bring them in. We'll see what happens.
Wow.
Knives In, folks. Comment in the comment section. Let us know what your pitch is, if you like ours or not.
I mean,
clearly, we've thought a lot about it. Knives In, the winner. Sorry, Amy. Knives In, the winner.
Spoons out.
And last but not least, in our Geek headlines, Birds of Prey. It came out. It's in theaters. People have seen it. What are they mostly talking about? There's an egg sandwich.
Mm-hmm. You don't even know how obsessed I am with that sandwich.
Why? Okay, so I haven't seen it yet. I'm excited to see it. I'm actually okay with spoilers. I just want to know, because it is lunchtime coming up. Tell me about the sandwich, Amy.
Mm-hmm. Okay. When camera men and women get really close up into a food and they get those really good angles.
It's a food close-up, yeah.
It's a food
I believe they call
close-up.
it a food close-up, yeah.
Oh, okay, thank you.
I don't know. I'm not just correcting, I'm just...
Just in case.
Just in case.
That might be right. when they do that and it makes like food look really, really good.
Yeah.
Imagine that, but like on a large scale, and just.
So there's a shot of a sandwich. Can you tell me what it's about?
There are multiple shots of this delicious food.
Okay.
It is a breakfast egg sandwich, and
It's
I don't want
just
to
a
reveal
sandwich.
too much. Sorry, just a sandwich.
What's the context of the sandwich here?
You know what? You have to watch Birds of Prey.
Get the knives
okay?
out. Get the knives out. I need the info.
Spoons out, knives out, forks out. I have to say that that's one of the best scenes I've seen in cinemas in my entire life.
Wow.
I have been thinking about finding myself an egg sandwich like Harley did. So if you guys have any recommendations, let us know. My mouth is watering right now just thinking about it. It's beautiful.
So what you're saying, the birds, they're preying not on people, they're preying on sandwiches.
You know,
is that what the movie's about?
Maybe.
Birds of prey of sandwiches.
Not gonna say yes, I'm not gonna say no. I'm gonna say you have to go see it.
That's a great way to that's what the trailer should have been. Here's a sandwich.
So good.
You gotta see what happens to it.
Yeah.
Well, folks, I love Geek Headlines. I love talking about sandwiches. I hope you do too. But this has been our week's Geek Headlines.
Please let us know which of these headlines you're most excited about. Let us know in the chat. So we're gonna take a quick video break and we will be right back with Kat. I'm hungry.
Can't stop a good game, 'cause I just gotta let you know it's better than ever. Have you heard the word? It's better than ever. Tell the world, spread the word. You ain't seen nothing yet. It's true what you heard. It's better than ever. 'Cause you ain't ever seen what you about to see.
Hi, my name's Sapene, and I will be painting the portrait to our Harley Quinn premium format figure. So, let's get started.
Yeah, now you're dead, are you?
Are joined by Kat Sapene, Senior Paint Manager. Yay! Okay, so before we talk to you, we have a few Harley pieces here to take a look at, both in honor, of course, of the release of Birds of Prey and your recent behind-the-scenes video, which was so good, fantastic. So we will be answering some of those questions that people were asking at the end of that. Okay, so right here, hi, you're beautiful. This is the Harley Quinn Calavera by artist Jose Pulido. This is a collectible by Unruly Industries. And yeah, free US shipping, guys. Look at
Yeah.
that. Beautiful, right?
I'm just a fan of these, but I've seen them for the past month or so, and it's just like, it's such a new way to look at these characters for sure.
I like, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Harley Quinn is so iconic that like putting that fun little twist, it still works beautifully. All right, so over here on my left, your right, we have the Harley Quinn Premium Format figure by Sideshow Collectibles. So this does include a portrait and grinning masked portrait as well with the iconic Harley Quinn hood. She is stunning. I will be staring at her for a while. So this exclusive includes a bat in the box accessory as well. So that's what you can expect. I mean, guys, right?
It's a great action pose too. I mean, clearly she's pretty explosive. There's some stuff that's gonna blow up real soon. So there's a ticking clock happening here. You know, that's what I love about these.
That's Harley.
Yeah.
You go.
I'm a bass guy. I'm the ace of bass.
Right?
Self-coined.
Yeah,
I love
that's
this
pretty
bass.
cool.
Wow.
If you can spin it, you can see there's like a rusty barrel on the back.
Oh.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Let's see that barrel, folks.
I
Let's see that.
do I?
Go ahead.
Okay.
We can't talk
I'm gonna
about a
do
rusty
this
barrel and
very
not see a
carefully.
barrel.
All right. Hold on. I'm getting there. This is gonna be worth the wait.
I'm sorry. I put a kink in the works here.
I just want to make sure I do this carefully. Can you see this?
We're almost there.
Like, it's like the.
Let's see
it's
that
like
barrel.
all acid rusted.
Oh,
Wow.
yeah.
It's cool. There's a lot of detail that goes into not just the figures but the bases.
You know,
So.
this is true. Ace of bases, is that what you said?
I'm an ace of bass, yes.
Ace of base.
Self-coined. I call myself that when we're talking about bases.
I love that. I love that. So, if you guys want to see more of these, should I try to fix her? What, you guys don't like this beautiful side? Look at her. She's gorgeous from all sides. To see more of these Harley figures and more, side.show/collect Harley. That's where you need to go. So thank you guys so much for geeking out with us with Harley stuff. Okay, so we're going to start by answering some questions that come from the Harley Quinn amazing video that you did.
Thanks.
So,
That's totally the multimedia team. They just really did a nice job editing.
I mean, yeah, but like you also paint, you know? So like you were doing
enough,
all
yeah.
the work.
You being you. Give yourself some credit.
So these were in the comments in the video. So we're just gonna go ahead and start knocking them out.
Yeah,
Okay?
absolutely.
So we will also be taking live questions from the audience, so be sure to put those in the chat for Bree. Okay, so first up, are classes held for the painters to learn new techniques and technology that can be used?
So that's not something we specifically set aside time for, but the company does allow for if you find a class or some new things that you want to learn, that's totally covered by Sideshow, and so we can always learn. But the nice thing is that we have such a variety of people that work in-house. We do a lot of learning from each other. Each one of us has a different different skill sets that, like, you know, like I mostly paint the ladies and portraits and likenesses and things like that, where you have other people on the team. Bernie will paint more of the male figures and likenesses, and Casey does these like creatures. And so a lot of times there's elements of different things on, even just the base, I might go and say, hey, Bernie, how would you rest up this barrel on a base or something like that. And so it's really nice to have that source, and we're always looking at what other people do as well and learning and sort of dissecting what they do and sort of figuring things out that way.
How much barrel talk is there per day? What percentage of the day is barrel talk?
Sometimes it's really funny. We'll have projects that come through and it's like, okay, everybody's painting a barrel. Like there's a barrel, it's just there are different projects, something that's green. Like it's just it's really funny. It's just like I can't find and you're just there's times when it's like, why is every green paint? Oh, because everybody else has it.
That's crazy.
It's in the air.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
it is.
zeitgeist. Cool.
Next question. Very clever to pencil in the eyes prior to painting. But if you make a mistake, how do you remove the pencil
With the
lines?
pencil? There is a lot of back and forth with the eye. So I'll pencil it in, but I'm always going back in with the white of the sclera to touch things up. So we use fairly opaque paints, and that'll just cover up the pencil real easily. Yeah, because those eyes are tiny. I've tried taking erasers and like cutting them into a point so I can really get in there. But then the eraser just sort of falls apart. So it's, I just go in with some white paint and sort of touch it up. But usually, and I also have learned to make my little pencil lines a bit smaller than I want, because I'm not so concerned at that point with the size of the iris that I'm going to put in there. I'll figure that out sort of freehand as I'm working on it. That's really more for placement. So mostly what I'm looking for is the center, like where I want the pupils, and that's going to give me the the eye direction that I'm looking for.
And that's so important.
Yeah, no, you don't want the like wonky eyes or anything like that. There's actually, you spend a lot of time painting the eyes and going back and forth and doing these just little minute adjustments because it's the face is the first thing that anybody looks at.
Yeah.
And if one eye just slightly feels like it's not looking at the same direction, especially when it's like an over-the-shoulder shot or like looking down like that, you can tell. You can tell when an eye is ever so slightly off, and so it's just a lot of like paint. Okay, fine. And then you have one, and you're like, okay. So which direction do I prefer?
Yeah, you have to choose. As far as like choosing, what type of paint do you prefer to use?
So since I've been painting toys, I've always used cartoon color cell vinyl. They unfortunately went out of business last year, so I was really heartbroken. This is like devastating. So we've been looking for some other paints. It's basically, it's all acrylics. It's all water-based paints because these do take a long time to paint, and we don't have the time to let oils sit there and dry or work with enamels, and those are also a little bit more toxic, so we're trying to, keep our health in mind a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
So we just use water-based paints. There's a few things where we'll use maybe an enamel or something like that, but those are sprayed in an entirely different booth and done somewhere else so that it's not the whole room that's like inhaling fumes.
Yeah, I can imagine. What kind of brush do you use in general, and what kind of brush do you use for eyebrow and hairline work? Those would be separate.
Different. Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah.
The brush really depends on what I'm working on, what part. The hairline and the eyebrow brush would be, I tend to use a liner brush, which is a little bit longer, and they tend to be really small. Different companies size them differently, so
What?
it's ridiculous. I know, yeah. So one company might call it a 3-0, and a 3-0 in another company is like twice as big, and you're like, so I like to go to the art store and actually pick out the brushes, because then you can also make sure they're not bent.
Yeah, you have to touch the products that you're going to be using.
Yeah, basically.
Pretty important.
You got to test it out. But I always look for something with a little bit of springiness to it. I don't want anything that's too soft because it just doesn't lay the paint on there the way that I want. But everybody uses different things. Like I prefer the liner brushes. Other people use a spotter brush, which is a much shorter and tiny little brush. It's great for doing dots, like in the eyes. Yeah. So like on the Harley Quinn, those like little dots in the eyes, a spotter brush would be perfect for that.
Wow.
But yeah, it's synthetic brushes, basically synthetic hair.
You're just like blowing my mind. I'm like, I can barely even like paint inside the lines. I'm like, what? So this next question is pretty detailed.
Okay.
So it says, which paint color are you using in the video? I need more than 3 passes with my acrylic paint to have something almost opaque.
Right, so that's where I don't use a particular color. I will hand mix every color that I use. I don't really like using them straight out of the bottle, so everything's custom per piece. That's why if you look on the desk, you see all these like little souffle cups. Those are all, and they're all labeled too, because then I know like, oh right, that's my like shadow color, and that's the highlight color, or like, oh, I'm going to use this one from this other project, and like, you can also reuse them. But yeah, I'll custom mix all the colors.
Maybe you should start a paint company to make
I'll
up
replace cartoon color. Yeah. It's crossed my mind, I support
her.
It's like in dreamland.
Yes, come on, support her in the
I
comments.
gotta keep painting these.
You can do both?
I can do both. That's a lot of time. But basically, that's why I always really enjoyed using cell vinyl. Cell vinyl was used back in the day when animation was all hand drawn. And it's the paint that they would put on the animation, the acetate, the clear acetate. And so they needed to have a paint that was really opaque so that when they lit it from underneath, you couldn't see so they needed to light it from underneath to, there's all sorts of reasons. But you didn't want any light coming through there. So the paint had to be really opaque. It was also beautiful because it's like super smooth and creamy and would just dry with like a blow dryer. Because again, the generally it was women who were doing the painting. They would paint one, flood it with paint, and sit it up and work on another one, and they would just have these like fans blowing over that. And so they needed something that they could put a good amount of paint on there and it wouldn't crack. And so for what we do, cell vinyl was just amazing. It was really nice and opaque. We've been looking for some alternatives and we've come across a couple of them, but they're not cell vinyl.
See, I don't know. I think you could start something.
Yeah.
He said, let's make this happen.
Just in my garage, it'll be
Yeah,
fun.
that's a start. That's okay. Let's just quickly jump into live audience cues. Okay, so Kat,
Yes.
what has been your favorite piece to work on so far?
Oh, it's hard to remember all the pieces. The Harley. So the trick here is my husband's also a sculptor here at Sideshow. He sculpted the Harley Quinn, so it's always really fun to paint the pieces that he's worked on, because on those, we could always have like conversations. He's like, what do you think of this or whatever? And so I have a little more personal connection to those. So he sculpted the Harley Quinn. Another favorite of mine was the Deja Thorse that we did, where basically a nude reclining in a chair. And that was fun because it was just a totally different skin tone. We do a lot of Caucasian skin tones, and so it's always fun to be able to branch out and do something that's a little bit different. She's a Martian, so she's got some, like redder skin tones, and so it's a nice little challenge to do something that's a little bit different.
That's so cool. That's a great question. Okay, so does everybody ask you to paint things? Since,
Yes, and I have to say I refuse. I can't do it.
What about Halloween? You're not helping out your best friend?
Nope, not gonna happen. It's just, I would love to, I just don't have the time.
Yeah.
And so I found that I would be like, yeah, sure, I could do that, and I still have it 2 years later, and I feel horrible. So I'm just like, you know what, I can't. They're like, oh, there's no time. I'm like, but there is. I can't give this to you in 5 years and you're going to be happy about it.
True.
There is a timeline.
Yeah.
However vague it may be. So I don't do.
That's really considerate that you say that, though. How many painters are on staff?
We have 4 painters on staff. We have Bernie, Casey, Chi, and myself. And then we also work with freelance painters. So like a freelance painter painted the Calavera piece, and Chi painted the other Harley Quinn there that's on your desk.
There was
Did the barrel.
She did the barrel. She did the
Okay,
barrel.
good.
She did the whole thing. Yeah.
What?
Yeah. She
We'll
rocked
talk
it on
to
the
her
barrel.
next, yeah.
This was a previous question from before, but what did you study to get to this point?
It was a fluke. It really was. I mean, I went to school, I studied art, but really my goal was to work in animation. And I did I got an internship in college at an animation studio and then worked in animation for about a year, but I can't draw. It's a little,
It's hard.
It is. It just, when you're I just realized that was, as much as I love animation, that was just not the place for me. And there just happened to be somebody who was working in animation who also on the side had a toy prototyping studio. This was all in New York, and so I had just moved to New York. I didn't know anybody. I had all the free time in the world, so I was like, sure, why not work on the weekends as well? And so I just kind of learned on the job to do this in particular.
Wow.
And then finally I was like, you know what? Like, this, I can say I painted. In animation, it's such a process. It's not one person doing the whole thing, and I was never going to get to the level where it was my work that was being shown. And I was like, this is really far more satisfying to me personally to do than animation was, which was sad, but then I was like, oh, but I'm using animation paint.
Yeah, that's
That
true.
led you there.
Yeah,
It all
it's
works
tied
how
in.
it's supposed
Yeah,
to.
a
Yeah.
little bit.
Exactly.
Cool.
Final few questions.
Sure.
Can Kat please do my makeup?
I can't do my own makeup. There is no makeup going on.
I feel like that falls along the lines of like, hey, can you paint stuff? You were so
Yeah,
talented that, there could be some like connections
Maybe
there.
someday, but like that's a whole other world, like the person's moving. You know, like I can't just say like, here I'm gonna paint under here, you know.
Yeah, and I figured
Just
you
have
could.
them take some NyQuil or something.
Just lay them down flat.
Paint them while they're asleep.
Look, you look like Harley. That's not what I wanted.
This is a different look, but okay. Final question. I would really enjoy a class hosted by Kat Sapene. Would you ever host a paint class, maybe on YouTube?
We just keep giving you more business ideas.
I know. If only
Paints,
now we just have to
classes.
make time.
Yes.
Can you
You'll-
talk to the fine
you'll-
folks at JPL and see if they can make a time machine, and then sure.
A time turner from Harry Potter.
There you go. There you go. I could do a lot of things if I had one of those.
All right, so that's a yes.
Yeah.
Is that's what we're getting? It's a yeah.
Hey, if you bring me the technology, I'll do it.
Okay, well, hey, you guys, you heard it here first.
Get
Okay?
on it, folks. Get on that now.
There you go.
Yeah.
Thank you so much
No,
for
thank
joining
you.
us.
I appreciate your patience.
This was so much fun. I feel like we are all leaving here like, wow. I mean,
Yeah.
we had an appreciation for everything that you do, but you just talking about everything in detail is just like mind-blowing.
Thanks. It's fun to share.
Yeah. So, hey,
Thank you.
guys, if you want to do what Kat does, you know, follow in her footsteps with animation and
Yeah.
how everything works
There
out.
are- there are
It
other
just
ways to
works
get here.
out. It just works
watching.
out. It just works. You know, what advice do you have really quickly for people?
Just it's cheesy, but just stick with it. Follow your passion. Follow what you actually honestly enjoy, and stick with it. I mean, I've been doing this for 20 years now, and you just keep trudging on. There's times when you're like, what am I doing? But just keep going, because there will be that day where people go, oh, wow, what's this? And you're like, oh yeah, I've just been doing this for 20 years. It's nothing.
I love that. That's great advice. Thank you so much, Kat, again. And thank you, Brad, for joining us.
Great to be here. Oh, man.
Yes.
Love
Thank
talking
you.
barrels with both of you.
That's something I don't think I've ever heard you say before, but thank
Me
you.
neither.
Thank you, guys. You've been an amazing audience. Thanks for joining us. We will see you next time. And don't forget to let your geek side show.
Hey, did you like that video? Be sure to subscribe by clicking the S icon on your screen and click that bell icon to be notified whenever a new video is posted. If you'd like more info on the items featured in this video, click the link provided under Product Info. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to let your geek side show.